Welcome everybody to another eye opener. This is Market Wealth Daily's quick little video chats that we do with top traders. And I am going to be the top trader for today. I was checking with my friend Blaine, and he has got a small crisis going on, a little power outage there, and it has shut down his in-home studio. So I am the stunt double for the day. Great to see everybody here. Thank you so much for jumping in. I am opening up the chat right now, especially since I'm on my own. I want to make sure that I can hear from you guys. Let me make sure I got that opened up really quick. So yeah, great. It's all set. If you guys want to type any questions in, you can definitely type them in. Um, for those of you who haven't been in an eye opener, let me just kind of walk you through this. What we do is we jump on here and we bring in traders. And we talk a little bit about what their strategy is, what they're looking at in the markets, and it's all, it's not stuff that you probably aren't aware of, but it's just kind of highlighting something, giving you some options, some ideas, some kind of creative fodder to go in and look at the markets a slightly different way. So I'm going to do my part on this today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to jump in here and I am going to start sharing some of the things that I look at as a trader. I'll just give you a little bit of background on myself. I've been in the trading business in one way or another for going on 30 years, right? So I started out in publishing, helping people write books, helping people learn, helping people teach, and learned an awful lot about the education process of traders, how traders learn and what kind of clicks with them. One of the things that I have seen from every legendary trader that I've worked with uh, is that they are constantly looking for fresh ideas, new ways to explore things. Nobody takes it blindly. They all jump in and they tear it apart and shred it. In fact, it almost seems contentious sometimes when they see a new idea because they want to prove it wrong. And if they can't, well, then all of a sudden it's a new tool that they can use. So, really interesting. So, I've kind of adopted that approach in my style as well. That I've got a couple things that are working well for me, but I'm also trying to poke holes in everything. I'm at a very unique position. I spend my life interacting with all these experts, people who have a lot of experience, been really successful, and I can kind of filter through what they're talking about and what their approach is and see which ones work well and which ones don't, and more importantly, which ones work well for me, which ones fit my style. So, my goal with these eye openers is to share that access that I have to all these guys with all of the people like you who are looking for new ideas and trying to figure things out. It could be various levels of trading. You could be a new trader, you could be an experienced trader, part-time, full-time, all kinds of different aspects. So from our standpoint, we're just going to go through kind of what these guys use, what they're looking at, and share that. So I'm going to jump in right now. I'm going to go through one of the tools that I really like to use. It's the MACD crossover as an indicator. One of my favorite tools. I've had a lot of success with it, not as an individual indicator, but as a piece of a couple other things that I like to add to the charts. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen right now. And the way I do this is I will yeah, I will jump in the mornings, and I will then uh I'll run a scan and I'll start looking at what stocks or what tickers pop up on the crossovers, either bullish or bearish. Obviously, bullish, you're going to see stocks that are trending up, where you're seeing the crossover down here on the MACD where it's going up. So right here, and I'm looking at a chart of Gilead Sciences from right pretty recently, a couple minutes ago. If you look down here, you can see this crossover, that black line crossing over the red line. That is showing some really nice momentum up. That would be a bullish crossover. That gives you a really strong indicator that that stock is going to go ahead and it's going to keep moving up. Up here, if you back up a little bit, you can see a bearish crossover. It's coming down, and you can see that give you a really good sign that the market's going to go down, right? Those are really clear cut. We all know that it's exceptional that you find things that are that clear cut. And of course, looking, hindsight's 2020, right? So really easy to look at this chart and figure it out now. Well, the reason I'm pulling Gilead up is because when I ran bearish, uh, first thing and I don't know why I do it this way, but I always run bullish and then bearish. I ran the bullish this morning, and there was only a handful of options that came in there. I looked for bullish crossovers, and then I looked for a volume over 500,000 because that's going to give me some liquidity so I can get into that trade and get out of it if I need to. Um, and then once I pull the chart up, then I start diving in. So Gilead comes up on my uh, list of pickers to take a look at that's showing a bearish crossover. And you see it down here where it's starting to do that bearish crossover. Well, the first thing that jumps out at me is yeah, it's been doing that off and on here. Now, for really short-term trades, this could work out great. In and out in the same day, wonderful. For the approach that I'm currently using right now, I'm working on a system that I'm trying to gather data about and improve. It's a little bit longer. It's a couple of days hold, trying to avoid triggering day trading requirements and everything. And so opened an account and started with a relatively small amount. And I'm using this system to test it out. And it's been successful. It had as much as doubled in the first half of the year. And then it's pulled back a little bit, but still definitely positive for the year. Really excited about that. It's shown some stuff. Hopefully someday I can kind of roll this whole program out. But I want to show you one of the tools here, and dive into that. And that's this bullish crossover or bearish crossover. Sorry, you see it happen here. Doesn't really do much. See it happen here. Doesn't really do much. See it happen here. One of the things that I've noticed as I've watched this occur multiple times is that this crossover is just not far enough extended to really get that momentum to the other side, to get a really big, sorry about that, to get a really big move like we're looking for here, right? So what I'm looking for is this kind of really elevated or really low MACD, and then to see that crossover there, then it gives me that's the kind of explosive pop that you can really sink your teeth into. So as I'm looking through this today on that scan for bearish crossovers, another stock came up, AMD. Sure, you guys have been following some of the stuff with the big earnings reports from all the tech companies. AMD issue, I believe, if you listen to the earnings, it was something with their data centers that they're some questionable about how those are performing. For me, interesting, a piece of the equation. Really, the chart's what I'm looking at. I want to tone out all the noise, all the opinion, and I want to drill into this chart. And I see it here. I can see that we are overbought on the RSI at the top. We've got a nice crossover. Now, we've tested these crossovers before, but not with this kind of real momentum to the downside. Um, and so for me, this sets up a really great put trade. You go out to maybe September 19th. You're looking for, somewhere down maybe to this next point here, to this point of support that it found before to the 155. So you look at a 155 September 19th put and just take a directional trade on it. The thing that where I'm, and I wish that I followed my rules religiously, is that if I'm looking for a couple day position to really get the benefit out of this, I'm worried, to be honest with you. I'm worried that this is going to move a lot quicker than a couple days. That this, I mean, it could happen, within the day. So that's something that I kind of like, all right, well, I'm looking for a trade. I'm going to bend the rules. I'd say probably 99% of the time when I bend the rules, it comes back to bite me. So I'm going to see how this one does. But it looks like it could really be a nice move downward. All of these tech stocks, we see it in the RSI up here. They really were just floating in that overbought territory. Really needed to take a breath. They needed to step back a little bit, regroup, uh, let some people take some profits, and then kind of get back into the stratosphere here as opposed to being in outer space way up high. If they can take these little breaks, maybe pull back to that 155 target I was talking about, then it can maybe extend that trend. I know Blaine Markham and I were talking about this, and Keith Harwood and I were talking about it too. It's like, it's got to, if it wants to keep that trend, it's got to be able to step back a little bit and stair step almost. And you can see it here that this trend all along the way has kind of been pulling back and pushing up, pulling back and pushing up. That's the other thing with this. Like we were talking about before, we were looking at Gilead, and you saw this pattern where it would fake you out. It would cross over to the bear side and then come back up, cross over and come back up. You don't see a crossover, a bearish crossover in AMD quite as distinct as you're seeing today in these last few. Doesn't mean it won't swing back and keep going up, but it looks strong. The other piece that's different here is how elevated this MACD is. We're sitting up here really high. It's going to want to come down at some point. So hopefully this is the move that'll help us see that. So now, you look at that and again, look for that target. The way I landed on that 155 target is looking at the support back here. That's, we already broke through this level of support around 170 and are down. The next level is going to be this double bottom down here at 155. That means they tried to sell lower and they couldn't, and then rallied off of it. Here they tried to, came down, tried to sell lower, couldn't, came up, and then the earnings pushed it down below that support. It's going to go down to the most recent level. That's an easy target. Is it 100% guaranteed that it's going to go to 155? No, it just is kind of the way that the patterns have played out in the past. It's as good of any as a target for that. So we're going to grab that and use that as the strike that we're looking for when we get that put option, and then just see how it plays out. But yeah, that this kind of approach has worked pretty well, and it's been relatively successful for me in using that MACD. One other indicator that I will occasionally add to the bottom, and I picked this up from Ian Cooper, is the Williams percent R. Williams percent R is different than RSI, and I mean can go into the math and the way they're calculated. I'm going to give you the layman's terms. I look at these, low points, these high points, overbought, oversold, as magnets, and it's where the gravity, what direction the gravity is pulling. We had that gravity up here, and that kind of kept us going up. And we see that when we see that gravity start to come down, you go down here, it pulled it way down here. Again, big drop here, right? I'm seeing that gravity drop and start to pull to the downside. So that's just another confirmation that this put trade is something that offers some opportunity and is considering it. Again, to anybody who's in the room right now, if you got questions on this, go ahead and fire them across, because I always love making sure that this is relevant to the folks that I'm working with. And think about your learning style. I go back to how I came up with this approach, and it was literally from listening to so many people. I just referenced a handful of them and kind of the things that helped me find the trades that I'm looking for, but there's hundreds of them that I've listened to, read, watched, sat in the back of a presentation while they were, going through their stuff. Inevitably, it's amazing because you'll have 50 people in, a lot of times it's a webinar now, but it was back in the room. They had 50 people in the room, and I would be one of my jobs was to be a presenter and introduce these people. I'd stand in the back of the room, and then I talk to people as they're going out, and you could have one person say that was the greatest presentation I've ever seen, totally makes sense, and somebody was like, that was the most useless time I ever spent. It's all about what works for you. You have to understand your risk tolerance, what resonates with you in terms of chart patterns, indicators, things like that. So, we bring a lot of people together into these eye openers, and we try to share what's working for them. I mentioned Ian Cooper he uses MACD quite a bit. He uses William percent R. I know we got Blaine Markham and the Hughes team. They're using Keltner channels, which work incredibly well, and wrapped in their strategies. Those Keltner channels can be really, really effective. Keith Harwood's got a number of indicators on his chart, And it all works for him. It's really, it's finding that type of collection of indicators, those tools that work for you. And that's what we're trying to do. If anybody's got any indicators that they like using, they want to drop it in the chat, let me know. I'd love to talk about it and see if there's something I can pick up from any of you guys on stuff that's really effective. Um, you know, uh, we are going to be watching this trade. If you're not following us on Telegram, encourage you to do that. I put some of the trades that I come across on our Telegram channel. And like if we weren't doing this eye opener and I was talking to Blaine, I probably would have let Blaine share his trade. I would have put mine up on Telegram. So if you're looking for ideas like this one, that's a good place to find them. Um, so definitely you want to make sure you follow us there as well. Market trying to find its sea legs right now. Really kind of a lot going on. So we've got big earnings week happening. That is pushing things. We're starting to see kind of some shakeout. I don't know, is it what the ultimate landscape will look like from the tariffs, but see some shakeout there. And then you've got this underlying current of rates possibly getting adjusted based on the jobs report. Just so many uh, cooks in the kitchen, right? So many things move in this market. I always go back to the charts. Let the charts, they're objective. It's numbers. It is a visual representation of the emotion of all the people making these trading decisions. Um, and it shows you not what they're thinking, not what the headlines say, but it shows you what people are actually doing. So, using these charts, using these indicators can be it offers a lot of clarity when you're trying to sort through what to look at and what not to look at. But yeah, these are the type of things that we share in the eye openers. I'm hoping that this kind of stuff is what you guys are looking to gain from it. And again, if you want to chat and type something in there, let me know if that's what you're looking for. Um, we're going to go ahead and jump off here, and I'll be sending this update out to everybody. Um, Keep an eye out for invites for more of these. They're not always me. Usually I have another trader with me. So, but glad to share the stuff that's working for me. As I mentioned, I've had exposure to a lot of traders over the years. I still feel like a regular Joe. I look at myself as someone constantly learning, constantly, honestly making mistakes and trying to adapt around it. So I try to bring that perspective to the presentations and kind of, guide people that are looking for a new tool, a new solution to finding something that'll work for them. But really interested in any feedback that you guys have on this stuff. Feel free to shoot me a message and definitely let me know that there's it's of value and that it's worthwhile for you. Everybody, thank you so much for jumping on today. I'm going to wrap up and we will be back with another eye opener very soon. Thank you.